Now back to Morningline. Here's Steve Helms.
And welcome back, folks. Thank you for joining us on this magnificent Monday, June 20th. The numbers are 862-9977, 1-800-375-0056. And we are honored to have with us candidate for Governor Eric Morrison. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us today.
Well, good morning, Steve.
And tell us a little bit about yourself, if you could. With the media, they don't really, it doesn't seem like they get all the names of everybody that's running for the various offices, and you're running for governor, which is a very important one here in this election.
Yes, Steve. Well, I am a native of Kansas City, Missouri, for 53 years, married for 28 years, have 3 beautiful children, 5 precious little grandchildren. I've been pastoring some 16 years now in the inner city of Kansas City, Missouri. A community activist. I have a few degrees of learning, and just a compassionate person about the cares of others.
Now, ironically, I'm been married for 28 years and have 3 kids. Don't have any grandkids yet, so that's a little similarity between us.
Wow, that's great.
But you've been in Kansas City. Why are you running for governor of the great state of Missouri?
Well, Steve, to be totally honest with you, it wasn't nothing that I chose to do, more than it was a call from God. And coming into the ministry, I was told to leave the political arena alone, get close to it, but never get involved in it.
Okay.
And just recently, in February of this month, had a gentleman out of St. Louis, Missouri, that heard me make a presentation in 2014 concerning the education of the state. I was just doing a little brief interview with a young lady. He then inadvertently calls me this year, and that interview wasn't but about 3 minutes long, and asked me, have I considered running for governor of the state of Missouri? And I told the gentleman, I think you called the wrong Eric Morrison. I said, I have not entertained politics in no form. But he assured me that there were several other people, including himself, that had been watching my work that I had done in the inner city, and that I would be a great candidate and make for a great governor of the state of Missouri. And so it was through me going and pressing up on the hearts of other people that know me very well, some school teachers, some other pastors, and certainly in prayer and praying, that I received some strong confirmation that at this defining time of my life, it's something that God is calling me to pursue after. So I am on the ballot and having a great time traveling the breadth of this state and meeting great people.
Well, we are speaking with Eric Morrison. He is a Democrat candidate for governor. And, sir, we're going to take a quick break, and then we'll get back and we'll get more into the issues on what you think you can do here as governor in Missouri. We'll be right back after these messages.
Now back to Morningline. Here's Steve Helms.
And welcome back, folks, and thank you for joining us on this Monday, June 20th. And we are speaking with Pastor Eric Morrison, who is a Democrat candidate for governor. Sir, again, thank you for joining us. And if you would, tell our listeners, what are some of the issues as you've traveled the state that you see that are important in this election?
Steve, and to the audience that is listening, one of the issues that we see broadly has been within the educational system of the state of Missouri. If I've been approached and asked what would happen as governor concerning our educational system, that's been one of the primary. Also, the economic development issues, job creation, what would happen there, has been also, and as well as job security, in essence, to the individuals that have been long-standing in places where the threat of closure or layoff would occur. So those three areas is one of the primary issues. Now, of course, there are many others, but those three have been the ones that I've been approached about since I've been traveling the state of Missouri.
Well, in Kansas City and St. Louis especially, I think there are some of the school districts that have some serious problems when you talk about graduation rates and just problems in general. What do you think, as governor, you would do or propose that could actually impact some of those to turn them around?
Well, Steve, I would say this, first of all, how appreciative it is of watching those individuals that have been working diligently to secure the inner cities of St. Louis County, St. Louis, Missouri, Kansas City, Jackson, how they have worked with first to try to get the development of the magnet school system in place as the public school system was deteriorating, as well as now the charter schools that have been implemented to harness and to keep these children and families that do not have the ability to, uproot and move to another area of the state or another area of that city to receive the proper education that they're needed. The charter schools have come in and have done an exceptional job. But I think that the work still needs to be done in providing the resources that are necessary to bring the public school systems back up to accreditation so that the kids can receive the adequate education that is necessary for, the time that we're living in right now. And as governor, that would be one of our primary responsibilities, a priority that I will work diligently to make sure that these areas that are being underfunded, where there's a lack of resources reaching them, that resource line will begin to increase so that this plight of underdevelopment and underfunding would end.
And you mentioned charter schools, I believe.
Yes.
The ones that are there, do you want to continue the charter schools and maybe expand those while you work to increase the funding for the public system?
Well, they would have to stay in existence, Steve, until those public school systems are up and going strong and healthy again. They will have to remain. And they are equipped. And I've been through several of them, and they're very well equipped with some quality teachers and administrative staffs that are working very well with the kids. But as in other places where there are over inundated with kids attending one particular school, it becomes difficult because we still face the same problems of suspension. The state of Missouri public school system has the highest rate of suspension in this country right now.
Wow.
And so we understand that when children are being suspended from school, most of these children are being released to go home, where most of the homes are single parent. That parent is at work, so it leaves the child unattended, and that's where a lot of our children get in trouble. And once they get in trouble, now they're in family court. Family court is sending the child off to a detention center, and once they reach that place of detention, now they have a level of low self-esteem that they don't feel worthy no more. So their life, and that's where we can see the overpopulation of kids, African American, Hispanic, Latinos, filling up the prisons right now, the correctional facilities right now, and that needs to stop. As Governor Eric Morrison will put an end to the school to prison pipeline that is not just in the state of Missouri, but this is happening across the nation.
Well, you bring up.
Yes, sir.
Oh no, I was just going to say that is a huge issue, and it's we're seeing that in Springfield more and more with issues and students and what can you do to try to reserve that, because that's a totally different issue, isn't it, with than the funding, kids going from the education system straight to the prison.
Yes, sir. Well, there's Steve, there's money being spent on these children being incarcerated, men and women being incarcerated. We're not spending any money to keep them in school than we are spending them to keep, because now it's turned into one of the most luxurious industries. The prison industry makes profits more than any other industry in this country right now. And so we are looking at shifting those dollars from keeping kids incarcerated to keeping them in school. And the state of Missouri is right now has reached the lowest early child development than before. It's never been a problem with early child development. And so there's money that are available to bring programs and additional educational facilities, reopen them for these babies to begin to be educated and get the right nurturing at the early age. But now they have been closed down, and so we will fight to make sure that early childhood development is in place. We will implement programs, enlarge the border for those kids that are troubled, having an inadequacy of learning at this time, not to be suspended from school. Some of the things that people are failing to realize, and I would say even our opponents, the Republican Party does not understand that when you have a lack of funding in any area where there's no resources going, then it's undeveloped. And that's not just undeveloped for the education, but their social lives, their families are lacking. Moms are single mothers, are having to work 2 and 3 jobs, having just a very little bit of time spent with their child. So believe it or not, we have one of the highest population of children that are homeless right now.
Right, and that's a huge issue. If I could, we
yes,
just
sir.
have a couple of minutes, and so I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I did want to. You brought up economics, and our state is about 47th, or give or take, depending on who you talk to. What are your thoughts in the couple minutes that we have left on the economy and what you could do as governor to help provide a opportunity for business to come and people to have good, secure jobs?
Well, we would definitely market the state of Missouri as being one of the best states for anybody to move to. But more than that, we would invite those corporations to come into the state of Missouri. We would provide some tax incentives to them. We would look at making sure that there are some types of contracts that would hold the company in the state for 20, 25 years, and making sure that they understand that the minimum wage of $15 will have to be a foundation for them to come into this state, and we would continue to work on fortifying. I would work with stakeholders to come up with a strategic plan to make sure that jobs stay in Missouri, and that in the city of wherever that corporation begins its development, that it hires the 15% of people that live in that city to continue to generate revenue for that city and as well as for this state.
Well, sir, we appreciate your time. Where can our listeners go to get more information about you and your campaign?
Well, Steve, they can go to ericmorrisonforgov.com, or they can go to ericmorrisonmo@gmail.com, or they can write us at 3021 Swope Parkway, Kansas City, Missouri, 64132.
We've got about 30 seconds left. What last words might you have for the listeners on why they should vote for you as governor, sir?
Eric Morrison brings the integrity, the transparency, and the accountability that Jefferson City right now need. Right now, we don't need any more professional career politicians speaking over us. We need someone that has lived among us as people who cares for the least among us. And Eric Morrison is that person that will bring a genuine compassion and move the state of Missouri to the level in which it needs to be for such a time as now. I am the one that everyone needs to consider on August the 2nd at the primary election. Vote for Eric Morrison. You will not be upset that you did.
Well, thank you, sir. We appreciate your time, and we also have your link on our show information page. Wish you well in your campaign.
All right. Thank you so much, Steve, for having me.
You're very welcome. And folks, that was Eric Morrison, a Democrat candidate for governor, and we will be right back after these messages.